Alrighty, Rob. Good morning. How's it going?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing lovely. Thank you so much for asking, Rob. I am beyond excited to chat with you here because you have a phenomenal resume. So, if you don't mind, let's kickstart our interview and tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure, happy to. My background, my father, I like to go back to my roots. My father was a retired colonel in the Air Force, a fighter pilot, flew in Vietnam. I graduated from high school, went into the service myself. I was in the Air Force, not a fighter pilot, and it worked on aircraft. And then when I didn't retire, I did 8.5 years. So I'm a veteran. When I got out, got my license to work on aircraft, and I did that for a few years. And then I got hired by a staffing agency, and I've been in staffing. I started in 2004, but there was actually 2 years that I wasn't in staffing. So I'm coming up on 20 years of staffing experience. Um, what else would you like to know? You want me to go over my
Yeah.
background, my resume, or?
Yeah. So, for one, thank you for giving me that introduction as far as kind of where your story started. So, yeah, if you don't mind, kind of simply telling me the specific roles that you've sourced for
Sure.
during 20 years of experience.
Sure, a lot of high volume, skilled trades, touch labor kind of thing. I've done full desk, full life cycle, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
My own backgrounds, my own drug tests, collecting all the paperwork, making sure I stay in touch with the candidate, giving them reporting instructions, all of that kind of stuff. But with any industry, when you're recruiting, again, a lot of aviation, but I mean, everything that comes with it. So I've hired a vice president of business development. I've hired payroll people, accounting, logistics, supply, administrative positions. I mean, pretty much anything that you can think of, IT professionals. One time, a lawyer, general counsel, that did happen. So not a lot of that, but I do understand that world. It's a lot easier to me. Really, the legal field is a lot easier than understanding IT or say healthcare or something like that. But yeah, no, I've done it all. If you know how to recruit, you know how to recruit, and my basic thing is sourcing and doing searches. If you're just waiting for people to apply, you're not a recruiter. You're an HR generalist. You're or something. I don't know. So I've been a LinkedIn recruiter for 16 years. I have over 10,000 connections and 9,000 followers, or it might be the other way around. I'm not sure. So I'm very well connected, very well networked on LinkedIn. I've used that. Several. I mean, of course, Indeed. Years back, we used Career Builder and Monster. They're kind of dead now. I haven't had the chance to work with ZipRecruiter. I'd like to, but I know how to source, and that's the majority of my day will be proactively looking for people, not waiting for people to apply. Sure, use the ATS as well, and I've used a lot of different ATSs, but let me quit talking and let you ask another question.
No worries at all, Rob. And one key thing that's makes you stand out as a recruiter is the proactive approach to it, right? Because if we're reacting, we're already not doing our job
Right.
as a recruiter. So I completely agree with you on that. You mentioned the systems that you've used, LinkedIn Recruiter, such as you have the following there, so you have that. The bandwidth to connect with top quality personnel.
Exactly.
Um, Now we know with recruitment, as you mentioned, you worked in the high volume recruitment, heavy recruitment at that. And we know that, getting organized is a key factor in our role. So what's one thing, or really one tool that you rely on heavily to maintain your personal organization throughout the day?
Well, I mean, part of it is, and this is one of the things that they ask the question, what's one thing that's a flaw for you? And the thing that's a flaw for me is I'm a workaholic. So I I work a ton of hours. I will work early in the morning, late at night. Whether I'm in a hotel or traveling or whatever I'm doing. Sure, I'll start with the emails. Got to stay on top of your emails. but I try to burn through those pretty quickly. I'll go into the ATS and see who has applied. Generally speaking, you get a lot of people that are not qualified. So I can go through those. I read very fast. I can, especially resumes, I can just glance at it and go, yeah, no, not a fit. But I can, I'll do that. And then I try to devote, most of my day toward sourcing and searching and trying to find people. I think that, again, I've said it before, but I think that's the priority more than anything else. And then, I do what's called, whoever's closest to the money. So I got somebody already onboarding, or they're cleared and they're about to start. That's the people I want to stay in touch with the most. Second would be people in interview stage. I want to stay in touch with them. Don't want them to think we flaked out on them, or got to stay in touch with those people. And then, candidates that you have submitted, you have to get feedback from the hiring managers. So you have to, be in constant contact with the hiring managers. You have to be understanding that they have their own job to do, and staffing isn't always the highest priority, but you got to stay in touch with them as well.
Absolutely. Having those touch points with your pipeline candidates that you've connected with is key. You also mentioned about your experience with the full cycle recruitment. What does full cycle look like for you?
Cradle to death, basically. It's you found the person, however, whether it's somebody applied, you sourced them, a referral, whatever. Referrals are great too. I always ask for the referral. But from the time that they apply till you get them hired and started, you stay in touch with them, you get them going, all the way through the process. So, I mean, again, I've had to do, especially with the Department of Defense, now Department of War, I guess, but you have to do background checks, drug tests, lots of paperwork they have to fill out that you have to collect and get back. I'm used to doing all of that. That's not a problem. And if something's missing, you got to go back to them and say you didn't do this or you didn't do that, and make sure you collect everything that's needed. And mostly communication. I mean, that's the main thing.
Absolutely. Completely agree with that, Rod. Thank you for sharing. And so we know that you're looking for a new position. So when you think about the next company that you want to join, what would be the ideal situation for you?
Well, I mean, I've been remote for a long time, but remote's both good and bad. Remote's great because you can put me in a closet with a phone and I'm the most productive that I can possibly be. But then you lose that human touch, the collaboration, maybe helping mentor team members or whatever, if they need help. But definitely meeting managers and being interactive in that manner. So that's why I think this role where you're doing both is pretty ideal. I mean, it is. You get to be able to be on site and meet people and talk to people, and at the same time, you get that time where you're not, because there's too much chit chat in the office and everybody goes to lunch, and I don't do a lot of that when I'm at home. So my perfect role is something like this, hybrid.
Absolutely. I myself love a hybrid schedule because one, you get to be in the office. If not, you get to also be home. I think for me, being at home, I can focus more. So I love a hybrid schedule.
Right.
And Rob, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this interview, but I simply just want to thank you again for the time that we spent and giving me all the details when it comes down to your professional experience. So if you don't mind, stay with me here really quickly. I'm going to chat with you off the screen.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.